Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hugh Hattrick podcast. It was many years ago the Car Sim and Race Driver show. We've also had the Hugh Hattrick show, and pretty much that is what you are hearing tonight. And as we have just finished the Formula One testing in Bahrain, I thought I would go over the top 10 teams in the order that Autosport reckon they will be competing in as they go to Australia in just a couple of weeks' time. In fact, just a week on Friday, they'll be there for practice. And of course, the first race is on the 16th of March in Adelaide. I was going to say in Adelaide. It wasn't in Adelaide a long time ago. It's in Melbourne, of course. And I will come with the times and let you know exactly, if you're following from the UK, as to what time you'll need to get up to be able to see it. So first of all, I thought I would do a rundown just to give you the numbers as to where we think they're going to be. Then I will go into more detail. But if you like what you hear and you would like to continue to hear the podcast, and hopefully we'll have many Formula One reviews throughout the year and much more on motorsport and Gran Turismo 7 as well, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and give us a like and a comment. It would be great to hear your thoughts. So let's get started and we will go over the numbers now. Now, I'm using Autosport. This is actually their plus content. You normally have to pay a fee for this one, but they're good journalists that tend to write about the Formula One, so I think we can fairly trust their ideas on who is good and who isn't. So let's look at number 10. So the 10th team, the slowest team out there, they reckon was Sauber. They were about 1.6 seconds off the Williams driver of Carlos Sainz, who set the fastest time of the whole testing, but you have to be a bit wary as to how that might be. But in 10th place, it's Sauber. Now, in 9th place, it's the Racing Bulls. That used to be Toro Rosso many years ago, and of course it changed. They are in 9th place. I thought they'd be quicker than this. They've actually got quite a nice livery of the car there. It's white, a nice white colour with the Red Bull in red. It looks really, really nice. Actually, I think the cars do look nice and aerodynamic. There's lots of bits, of course, that were added to them for testing. Hopefully, they'll be a little bit cleaner by the time they come to Australia in a week or so, a week and a half's time. But they're in 9th place according to Autosport. And in 8th place, probably one of the shock placements here, is Aston Martin, because Adrian Newey, of course, has just left Red Bull last year, and he will be starting with Aston Martin now, but it doesn't look like he's had much chance to really get that car where it needs to be, because at the moment they were in 8th place. Although they do say that they reckon that this car might improve and has the biggest scope to improve, but it didn't go very well in testing for them. So, in 7th place, it's the Haas team. So yeah, they're certainly climbing up the field a bit. They did pretty well last year with Magnussen and I'm trying to think and Hülkenberg. I really think Hülkenberg is underrated and has been able to perform much better in recent years. So they are in 7th place. The Haas team will be looking forward to another productive and hopefully competitive season. And in 6th place, we've got the Alpine. Now, they had really struggled last year. They were pretty much near the back, but they have managed to get into 6th place in terms of testing, and they were very close with Williams. And whenever they watched them on track, particularly at turn 4 on the final day, they seem to be having quite a struggle with the A525. But it looks a nice car with that kind of pink livery with all the bits and pieces on it. It's a nice machine, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. Of course, Ocon left the team last year. He was a very good driver, but I think they always had issues. But let's see how they come on through this year. But I think they could be quite reasonable. Let me know your thoughts. We're always interested to hear what you say. And in 5th place, a big jump up for Williams. They are seen as the 5th place team from the testing. And yeah, we've got Albon. So, but he's been performing pretty well so far, and of course Carlos Sainz joins them from Ferrari and did the fastest time of anybody during testing. Now it may be a little bit of fuel and a few little things that they can do, but they are definitely climbing up the field. And in 4th place, not great news for Lewis Hamilton, because Ferrari are seen as the 4th placed car, but I think though it's going to be quicker than that. I think they're going to be much faster. Basically, they're seeing this. They thought it was quite hard to read into Ferrari's potential. because they had a few problems with the gearbox. It was a hydraulics problem, and that seemingly stopped Lewis Hamilton from being able to really go for it on the final few laps of testing. In fact, he was held up quite a bit. But their big issue, though, is tyre degradation, and that was really hindering the early times. Plus, he did go off track, which didn't help. But I do think they will get better. And in third place, we've got Red Bull. So a little bit not quite as competitive as maybe as they were last year, but I'm sure Max Verstappen. So, yep, the Red Bulls in third place with Max Verstappen coming from his fourth title in a row, but can he make it 5? I wonder. I think it might be a little bit harder than it was last year, because it looks like there are a couple of teams in front that will make his life very difficult. But Verstappen shown that he is an absolute pro in the rain, and really he looks very relaxed, doesn't he? Nothing seems to be bothering him. He seems to be able to continue on and do great performances. So I reckon he is going to be right up there. I think it was really fractions of a second between the top 3 teams. So again, it's going to be good, hopefully very good for the spectator, so we can get a really good championship. It would be great to see the cars nice and close from the start of the season rather than getting closer about mid-season. But in second place, again, not good news for Lewis Hamilton, because he's just left Mercedes, but they are in second place according to Autosport after testing, and they look much improved from 2024. So they reckon that they should be quite happy because they've dialed out the handling inconsistencies of the W15 from last year. So it was obviously cool conditions in Bahrain overall, apart from the last day, but it certainly seemed to make the car handle it a lot better. And also it seemed to be quite good on its tyres. And on the last day of the Bahrain testing, it set the quickest time of the day. And it was very similar conditions to the 2024 Bahrain Grand Prix. So perhaps that might help them. They also did the most laps of any team with 458. And that was overcoming a battery problem that confined Antonelli to the garage early on the final day. Although he feels he hasn't had enough qualifying preparation, and that might hurt the team's, might hurt the season or hurt Mercedes' season prospects. But Russell is pretty good. He's been there a long time, and I think he will be absolutely fine. But it goes to number 1, McLaren, in that wonderful orange and black livery. It's going to be hopefully a good year for McLaren. They reckon it was a satisfying home visit to Bahrain for the reigning world championship team. It didn't really have many issues, and they were pretty quick all the way around, especially on the race simulation averages. Norris's run on day 2 was 0.46 and 0.47 quicker than the best Mercedes and Ferrari could manage. And they were on a slightly different tyre, but when corrected for tyre choice and track evolution, it looked like the McLaren was the fastest car. And it's certainly the pace caught the eye early, and it seems like it's a natural pace. They're just getting the car dialed in very quickly. And also Piastri was similarly as quick in the hotter final day conditions, albeit with the Mercedes closing to 0.36 overall average deficit. But it's very, very encouraging for the McLaren team. So who do you think is going to be top or bottom? Will McLaren finally clinch a driver's title? Will it be Norris? Will it be Piastri? Or will Red Bull show everybody that they're just as fast as they've always been, and Max Verstappen will come to play? I'm sure there will be something in it. I'm hoping that Lewis will not be slow in that Ferrari. I hope he will be able to be up there and get lots of podiums, hopefully race victories, and I hope the championship will be really exciting. Maybe one of the best ones we've had for a while. The regulations are limited, so there shouldn't be so many changes, which has allowed the teams to hopefully become much more competitive overall. So let's see what happens. There's less than 2 weeks to go before the start of the Grand Prix. I'm sure it will be an early one. And just before I go, I will give you the information as to what time, if you're following from the UK, you're going to be needed to get up and be ready for the race start. So, are you ready for a very early start? You're going to have to be to catch it live. It's going to be at 4 a.m. if you're following it from the UK. Imagine if that's Europe, they're normally an hour ahead. But certainly from the UK, it's going to be 4 o'clock. So I hope you've enjoyed this mini podcast. Please leave a like and a comment, and make sure you subscribe to make sure that you don't miss any further Formula One reviews, as we'll be doing them throughout the year. I'll have Andrew and hopefully a few other special guests as well coming with me throughout the year. But have a wonderful couple of weeks. Enjoy the start of the Grand Prix season. And you've been listening to The Hugh Hattrick Show. Drive fast and try not to crash. Bye just now.